Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Ameen. Welcome back to another edition of Masjid Muhammad Newark Podcast, Community Conversations. We're honored to have you here with us live in session in studio. We got our students here, our teachers, our leaders here. We also have you all who will join us online. Make sure you check us out at masjidmuhammad.org, masjidmuhammadnewark.org. That's masjidmuhammadnewark.org. You can check us out with the newsletter. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, inshallah. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Today we have another edition of Community Conversations, and we're honored to bring on our dear brother, Akbar Salaam, who is a pioneer in our community, number one, but also he is the one who his movement of halal established halal not just for New Jersey, not just for Newark, but for the whole country. So you all are in for a treat to hear his story. I remember growing up, going to the store, getting the meats for my father. We had a restaurant and a food truck growing up. And then when I became an adult, he told me something that I'll never forget in regards to producing your own product. He said, when you go to the store and you see all those products on the shelf, you have the same capacity with whatever your product is. So at that time, and now we still do the bean pie, it's like any other product that you see on the shelf. And he said, never lose your production. So I'm honored to have you here with us. Akbar Salaam. Welcome.
Bismillah. I'm home. This is home for me. You know? In 1967, I was introduced to the Nation of Islam right here at this location. And from that point on, it was growth and development. Let me just say this. Let me just relax. You mentioned the history of halal, but let me just go back. It was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad who took pork off of our tables. And he was first to introduce us to a halal dietary law. And in 1975, when Imam Muhammad became our leader, he said, make your business, make your kitchen, whatever it is, make it Muslim. So he introduced us to Quranic and Islamic dietary law. So take note, that's historical. These two great men introduced Quranic, Islamic, halal, I would say, not industry at that time, but dietary law to America. So it's the dietary law that brought about what we have now. Allah says in the Quran, in the Surah 5, he said, if they ask thee what is lawful for food for them, tell them I said, all things good and pure. So that's the beginning. When we were challenged by Imam Muhammad to establish halal in America, that's the first surah that I read. And that became part of our foundation. The halal industry, oh, brothers and sisters, it's a gift to us from Allah. As I mentioned, Allah said, tell him I said. So he gave us this gift. And what we had to do is what? Establish the halal dietary law. I was already in business. You know, I was partners with 6 other brothers, and we established what's called Unity Beef Sausage. So we were already producing a beef sausage, started in 1967, 1968. So when we were introduced to establish halal, we already had a product, a beef sausage. So I said, well, how can we make this beef sausage halal? So I said, well, I have to slaughter. So I went to the Quran and the way of the Prophet, and I found out the proper procedures. Make sure your knife is sharp. Make sure that I make my do-ahs. I studied. Okay. And then I said, well, I'm gonna go to the slaughterhouse. I'm gonna slaughter me an animal. So I went to the slaughterhouse. I went there. I said, I want to slaughter an animal and make it halal. I was told by the inspector, said, no, you can't slaughter here. I said, well, why not? They said, only kosher can slaughter here. Said, there's no halal dietary law registered with the USDA. So you can't slaughter here. And it was explained to me that what the Muslims were doing, the rabbi was doing the cut, and the Muslims were standing behind the rabbi just saying the prayer. So I said, well, that's not allowed. I said, but it was the beginning. So what I did, I went back and I wrote down some manner and conditions for slaughtering, and I sent it into the USDA. And no response. So that was 1976. So in 1977, I got a call from the USDA, and the sister was on the phone. And she said, is this brother Akbar Salaam? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I see here that you would like to slaughter halal. I said, yes, ma'am. I said, is this possible? She said, yes, it is. I said, what do I have to do? She said, brother, I'll take care of this for you. I said, you will? She said, yes, sir. So I could tell by her language that she was one of ours, you know. She said, I'll take care of this for you, brother. I'll get this registered for you. So a few months went by, and I had to go to another slaughterhouse just to check in. And the USDA inspector came to me and said, Brother Akbar or Akbar Salaam, you can slaughter halal. It is now registered with the USDA. So that's how the first manner and conditions were submitted and registered. I submitted, but it was a sister, one of our sisters, who made it possible. She registered for us. So with that, I said, well, alhamdulillah. So I wasn't prepared at that time, because I didn't know we could slaughter, So I went and I went back to this kosher slaughterhouse. And I said, well, Rabbi, I said, I'd like to slaughter here. He said, well, no, only rabbis can slaughter here. I said, well, Rabbi, I was told that in the East, the Muslims eat the food of the Jews, and the Jews eat the food of the Muslim. He said, yes. I said, well, how about this then? I said, if it's lawful for us in the East, it should be lawful here also. I said, how about this, Rabbi? I said, you slaughter one for me, and I'll slaughter one for you. So he said, well, why don't you just slaughter one for yourself? I said, that's my point. Let me slaughter. So he said, well, come back tomorrow and slaughter. So this slaughterhouse, they were slaughtering at least 100 a day or more. And they had maybe over 100 employees. 80% of them were African American. And I went home, I sharpened my knife and got clean and all that. I put on all white, put on a white suit. I came down, I had my boots on. And I came down and he said, well, go in the back and pick out your animal. I didn't know what the process was. See, there, you're supposed to go pick out your animal and then send the animal through the chute. So I went in the back to pick out my animal. And you have to keep in mind, I'm a brother from Newark, New Jersey. Never slaughtered no animal before. I said, but still, this is what Allah asked us to do. So I said, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? So I went back, I picked out the animal. I said, how about that one? I heard someone said, I didn't know who it was. I said, okay, no, not that one. I said, how about this one? He said, There must have been about 50 animals there. And I went to pick out another one, and I heard, again, So I said, well, no, not that one either, you know what I mean? So I said, how about this black Angus over here? And I didn't hear anything. I said, okay, I'll take that one, And So the animal was put in the chute and came down. He said, well, follow the animal down to the front. Where you going to cut? This is my first time cutting. There, at least, And I went there and the animal came out. I said, well, this is a very nice process, The animal came out, the head came out. And one of the African-American brothers, he was in charge of lifting the animal up, So he lifted the animal's head up. He said, hold, brother. He said, let me clean the neck off for you. He said, because what happens is rocks get in there and it will dull your knife. It put nicks in your knife. I said, okay, brother, thank you very much. So he cleaned the neck off for me. And I went there, but the whole place was quiet. Everything, it was silence. But I didn't realize that I was the first non-rabbi to slaughter it.
Beautiful.
You know what I mean? So I said, Bismillah, and it rang out through the whole facility. I said, did my cut. I said, Allahu Akbar, a beautiful cut. Beautiful. You know what I mean? I put my hand on there and made sure the cut was clean. And then the brother said, okay, brother, what you do now, follow your animal around to each position. I said, okay, brother, thank you. You know what I mean? So the brothers had me from that point. The African-American brothers, everything that I was supposed to do at each stop, they said, brother, what you do here, you do this. You know what I mean? But what I didn't say is this. After I made that cut, the whole place, all the African-Americans said, yay! Like that. It was history. You know? So I followed the animal around and I saw how they had each stop, how they took skin off, how they really cut the animal open. And what happened was you could see all these different organs, etc. You know what I mean? And the blood was just shooting out. I said, oh, this is beautiful. You know what I mean? So I followed around and to a point to where the USDA, and they were checking the lungs and checking the livers and making sure these were healthy for human consumption. You know what I mean? So I followed the way around and I went inside and I said, then they hung the animal, skinned the animal, they hung it, and they put it in a separate area, separate from the kosher animal, make sure that the halal integrity is always maintained. So that was our first experience in slaughtering. Takbir. Allahu Akbar.
You might be asking, how old were you? You said it was in 70.
That was in 77.
So how old were you?
Okay, I'm 75. I'm 70. How am I now? I'm almost 80. I'm 79 now. So what's that? 77 from 89 is what? So whatever it is, that's what I am. But it was a beautiful experience, and so I had an experience to where. It was just a common slaughtering procedures. I would slaughter every day, come in and slaughter. So this took place, I slaughtered this for 20 years. And Imam Muhammad gave a tafsir. And he was dealing with Prophet Adam. He was dealing with the emphasis in really establishing your own. And this khutbah was a khutbah, brother, that really turned me on to the industry, turned me on to the halal system of knowledge. So this day I went, I picked out my animal. I had become so good at selecting animals, I was picking out primes all the time, And but this particular day, I picked out my animal, and the animal came around. I slaughtered the animal. I followed it around, and the animal was split open. But this time, I saw the universe in the animal. I saw the lungs. I saw the heart. I saw the spleen. I saw the livers. Everything was perfectly displayed there. I said, oh, Allah, look at this. And you can see the magnificence of Allah's creation. Everything was placed perfect, functioning perfectly. You know, because I cut the thoracic area, the lungs were still moving. You know, and I can see that the animal it didn't die from my blow. It died from lack of oxygen. I said, "Oh, look at this." I mean, it was so humbling to see Allah's creation like that. You know? And from that point on, I had a different perspective when it came to the halal. So that was maybe, I would say, an awakening that I can say laid my foundation to understand better the tafsir of a great man that Allah gave us. Imam Muhammad, he challenged America challenged the Muslim community, our community, to establish halal. He said that Allah gave this to us. He said, and halal is our economic engine. But what I didn't know, we had to build the engine. I didn't know we didn't have an engine. So that was fundamental in structuring this halal industry. And Imam Muhammad, he would call me sometimes every Friday before Jummah, or every other week, or sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times a month. And what he would say was, he never would say halal, you know what I mean? He would say Adam. So he took me back to Adam. And halal means what? It means lawful by God. That's what halal really means. It means lawful by God. But prior to that kind of insight, the rest of the Muslim world was saying when you do the cut, that the cut was, and you say Bismillah, that Bismillah was for the animal. Imam Muhammad said, no. The Bismillah is for the human being who's doing the cutting. He said, actually what you're saying is, you're thanking Allah for giving you permission to render this animal for the service of humanity. That's what you're actually doing when you say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. And the first Bismillah, guess what he said that is? That's Ar-Rahman. Mm-hmm. And when you do the cut, you say Allahu Akbar, that's Rahim. Mm-hmm. That's the first and second door. So Adam, in the beginning, when he made food lawful for eating, he opened the first door. Ar-Rahman. And Rahman, Imam Muhammad said it stands for physics and chemistry. Great mental power. He said, and Rahim stands for technology and industry. Yeah. Yes. So the last thing you do in halal is eat the food. That's the last thing you do. Look at everything, every process that takes place before it gets to your dinner table. So what are we saying? Allah gave us that gift. Adam, at that time, there was nothing. Here it all evolved out of Adam. Here we are in America, a people like Adam. We post-slavery, we came out with nothing. And Allah gave us the gift. The same gift he gave Adam, he gave to us. Adam, Imam said that Adam represents the intellect mating with the creation. So brothers and sisters, that's what we have to do. We have to mate with this creation. This industry, this halal industry, has so much potential. What we've done over the last, 50 years, we've built the engine. Yes. I'm giving you the keys. I'm giving you the keys. Turn it on, start it up. You got the keys now to an engine that's based on creation. The rest of the world don't have what we have. They think they do, but they don't. We have a system of knowledge that starts from the very beginning up to now. It started with Adam, evolved to Ibrahim, From Ibrahim to Moses, from Moses to Jesus to Muhammad, from Muhammad to us. Praise be to Allah, and may Allah's mercy and blessing be on all the prophets of God. We have that system now from the very beginning. You say, well, we don't say it. What is it? Well, turn the engine on. We didn't give you a Chevy. We gave you a Mercedes Benz, a Rolls Royce, that engine that you got. All you got to do is start it up. Anything else right now?
We want to start it up. I want to say, as you were speaking, you gave us 68, 77, and when I did a quick Google search, y'all ready for these numbers? So from 1990, they said it was about 200 restaurants. I just did the halal food restaurant.
Yes, okay.
So we started, as you mentioned, from ground zero, 77, being the first halal, to 1990 having 200 halal restaurants, to now, according to this report, says over 13,000 halal restaurants. And you want to know how much is it? $668 billion.
Yes. Well, guess what? In 1977, the halal industry was doing $200,000 a year. Imam Muhammad challenged America, challenged us. And now, when we first put the ban out there, everybody woke up then. Here come everybody with the halal. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now it's doing over 4 billion. More than that. 5 billion, 7 billion. And one forecaster says doing this. But that's just in America. Trillions globally. And let me say this right here. I've been in business for 58 years, transitioning out. And what we want to do is train our community in this halal system of knowledge.
That's right.
We want to train you. We want to educate you. We want to help establish not just restaurants, not just meat plants, not just slaughterhouses, the entire industry. When Adam established food that was lawful, there were only a few items. Look how everything has evolved. Right now, we need everything, our community needs everything when it comes to food supply. But what we didn't have in 1977, we had to go to other slaughterhouses to slaughter.
Right.
Brothers and sisters, what we have now, we have the first Muslim slaughterhouse built from the ground up in Farmville, Virginia, by the Sabor family, by Abdul Sabor, a $1.7 million establishment that will come under our supervision. What I mean by halal certification. This family has the 5-pillar slaughterhouse. This is the only thing that we needed. We needed our own slaughter facility to now lock in every avenue, from the farm to the slaughterhouse, from the slaughterhouse to distribution, trucking, et cetera, right to the processing, and right to the retail, right to the wholesaler, and right to the restaurants, et cetera, and then on the dinner tables. We have our own slaughterhouse, our own state-of-the-art slaughterhouse, the first one built from the ground up in America. Another first. The ones in the past, what they did, they went and took over kosher slaughterhouses, Christian slaughterhouses, and they went in there and started using them. But this one here is built from the ground up, based on our system of knowledge. Another first. History. Takbir. And inshallah, maybe we can plan a trip to go down there.
Yes.
Okay.
That'd be nice.
That'd be a nice trip. Education for our youth and for our community.
Indeed.
So this halal, we need everything, brothers and sisters. When in our next segment, when we bring on the halal certification, we're going to talk about how the certifying agency can bring and certify other products to our table and to the market. It'll open up an opportunity for you to establish your own halal. The man mentioned that there. How many restaurants now?
13,000.
13,000. But guess what? Every one of them has to come under a law. And guess what we did? Not only did we establish the first conditions for slaughtering, in the state of New Jersey, we helped establish the first halal food disclosure in the state of New Jersey.
That's right.
The state of New Jersey became the first state in America to have a halal food disclosure law.
That's right.
So now we have a law. So not only do we have the process, we have a law. I don't care what it is. In America, you have to make it a law. But the law is based on Quranic law.
Yes.
So right now, our imams, our learned people have to teach Quranic and halal dietary law.
Yes.
Once our community latch on to the halal dietary law, there it goes. You know, we demonstrated a little bit, when the imam challenged that everybody started eating halal, this, that. You know, it jumped off. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, it shocked America. You know? And then we kind of faded, and others came in, and rightfully so, you know what I mean? And they saw the opportunity, and they jumped on it. You know? But they established what they have in a Chevy, you know what I mean? You know, or in the Pontiac. You know, what we established is in a Rolls Royce. You know what I mean? It's in a Mercedes Benz for our community. You know what I mean? So when we come back, here it comes. Yeah? You're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna establish what we need for what? To build new Africa.
Beautiful.
So here, we'll take a quick commercial break. We have two presenters. And Sean's going to give a quick product. No, she's not. She's going to give a quick product introduction, and then we'll have Sister Connie give us an announcement about the event that's coming up tomorrow.
Assalamu alaikum. Today, the commercial break will be about the tree detergent. It's $20 at Masjid Muhammad Newark. Tree detergent just for your dirty clothes, put them in the washer. It also comes with the top, like a measuring tape, but to measure how much detergent you're gonna put in here. So inshallah, if you could stop by, buy some for $20. It's right here on the table.
There we go.
Good.
Assalamualaikum. Tomorrow we are hosting our very first women's wellness event, hosted by Masjid Muhammad Newark, but we will be at Westside Parks Community Center. That's located 600 South 17th Street. It's right up the street in Newark, New Jersey. So it's an afternoon dedicated to women's wellness, although brothers are not welcome in the space, so that the sisters are fully comfortable. We do encourage that if you have any women in your life that you'd like to give a break to, please sponsor a ticket for her. Or you can sponsor a ticket even if you don't have a specific woman in mind. There's always women who are going to show up at the door who don't have a ticket. We'll have an afternoon full of guided meditation, dua. We'll be doing some yoga. We'll have some line dancing, and we'll have some mindful journaling. So if there's anybody who is in need of a break, which is all of us, please come on down. We do have tickets at the door. We still have tickets available, but we'll be 600 South 17th Street tomorrow, 517, and we'll be there from 2 to 6 p.m. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the masjid, and we will get your questions and problem solved, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
All right, and we're back to Community Conversation, our second episode here at Masjid Muhammad Newark. We're honored to have Akbar Salaam, pioneer in the halal industry, as we just mentioned. We're also joined now by Imam Earl Sadiq, who's going to transition into several things, But as it was left off on the first end, the halal certification.
Let me say something first, okay? The brother made an excellent commercial dealing with true detergent. But guess what? True detergent is halal. Certified. True detergent is the first halal detergent in America. And also, under our certification, we certify true detergent. We've done the research to make sure that it meets the halal dietary law. Okay? We make sure that true detergent is halal.
Assalamu
Alaikum.
My name is Earl Sadiq. I work out of Masjid Ashifa in Newark, New Jersey, 922 Bourbon Street. Originally, Imam Hakil in that team. I've been on the Akbar about 60 years. 60 years. I'm 81. I remember when the one was in front of the 8, now I'm listening to the 8 is in front of the 1. And that vacant spot over there was the temple, number 25. I remember very clearly. I started that temple on 15th Avenue and 14th, I think it was 14th Street in Newark, New Jersey. I used to go to the high school, the trade school on Sussex Avenue and First Street. I was in the brick mason class. And when that class was over, we would come over here and help renovate and establish the temple on South Orange Avenue, 257 South Orange Avenue. So I'm too home. I'm a child of this community, as is Akbar Salaam. What he did mention, because he mentioned a lot of things, that this March of this year, 2025, the Halal Consumer Protection Act was established in the state of New Jersey, the first one in the nation, augmented by us. So we have a wonderful history in this community. I'm here talking about Juneteenth Freedom Day, really. That started after slavery, 1865 Emancipation Proclamation. Now here we are, fast forward to 2025, and we have a Juneteenth Freedom Day. Our beloved brother Akbar Salaam is the chairperson of this wonderful committee. What is this about? We sponsor programs every year predicated on this. Who sponsored? We sponsored. With what? With our finance. Juneteenth is a national holiday. This year, we're going to do it on June 15th, which is actually Father's Day. So you got a double one, you got Big Daddy's Day and Juneteenth Day. That's a beautiful thing. Now, the reason why we do that is because last year when we did it, the South of Oregon had a massive program. And it encapsulated everything. So we took sort of like you might say, a hit. So we said we have to use a different strategy. Let's do it on June 15th, which is a Sunday, and Father's Day. So we took the hit that we took last year. But still, we are the sponsors of our day. So we have booth space, we have sponsorship, and we need the community to rally behind what we're trying to do. This is May the 14th, if I'm not mistaken. We speak in terms of June the 15th. One day, that's not a whole lot of time because we need monies. We need people to come out and assist us. We can't fail in this because this is our time. We cannot fail with this because if our forefathers would come, if our ancestors would come here today, they say we died for this. They're not productive. Why are we not productive? Because perhaps we're lazy, we don't understand, or we don't have the resources. But you yourself as a national resource, as an individual, you are a resource. So I'm appealing to not those in this audience right now, but to those who are watching this particular program. We need you to assist us to make this day a very successful day. I'm gonna read 2 paragraphs from here, which is for the entrepreneurs, the businessman, male and female in our particular community. Let me read this for you. We are appealing to our business community to take out a sponsorship to express your support, and with your help, we can eradicate systemic racism and inequality. The struggle for equality is not over. There's much more work to be done. The Juneteenth Freedom Day Committee Chairman, Akbar Salaam, is asking you to be a sponsor because we know if we all work together in unity, we can achieve these noble goals. Your contribution is tax deductible. Now, we have sponsorships starting from $100 to $5,000. Now, you may not have $5,000, but you might know somebody who do have $5,000. Ask them to sponsor the money. Because what? It's tax deductible. So we're thinking big here, brothers and sisters who are listening to my voice. We're thinking very big. We need you to help us to make this thing a reality because this is our day. Now, we have what? Black History Month, 26 days, maybe 27 days. And we got Juneteenth, so we got 28 days of a whole year. But we gave 400 years to America. Bad mathematics. Bad mathematics. But we should make the best of what we possibly can. Now, I'm going to slide in to what Akbar was saying. I work with the halal certification. That means that by this being a state law, you have to comply with the law. If you're not, you're subject to a fine. So if I go to your particular facility and we begin to talk, and I explain what I'm about, you accept that. Now, we have a nominal fee that the county decided that we should have. Now, you also have an opportunity to use the state representative, which does not charge you. So when I sit down with an individual to explain our situation, I'm gonna give them an option, an opportunity to come with me to Africa or go with the state. But whatever the case may be, you have to be a registered state, a registered person in the state of New Jersey if you're gonna deal with any halal products. Any halal products. That's a blessing.
That's right.
That's a blessing. We are the first state in the country. Now, give me some history about that. We've been here 400 years, right? 400 years of people. Now, in less than 50 years, we got a mindset that taught us to do something that is Quranic, based from the Quran. And we've been out in the mix for 400 years. So you can see that Allah has blessed us. So compliment the blessing and make these things a success. How do you make a success? We need your sponsorship. As I said, I'm not talking specifically here in this audience, but for those who are earmarked with my voice, we need your assistance. Akbar Salaam wears many different kufis, not that, but kufis. All kinds of kufis. I wear different kufis. Huh? He wears the black kufi, the white kufi, the decorated kufi, but they all signify something. So get in touch with Unity and get into Akbar Salaam and say you want a sponsorship. If it's not $100 or $50, $5,000, $2,500. Don't think that we can get that from you because you can do it. You do it for all kinds of other things. Do it for yourself. So believers, in my little commercial, I hope you understand what I'm saying. We need you. We need you to help make this thing a reality because the world's looking at us now. Remember, Juneteenth is a national holiday. National. So the world's looking at, wherever we are, we're going to see what these folks are about. We're going to see what they're really about. Newark, New Jersey is a prime. This is the W.D. Muhammad said, we are the new ark. W.D. Muhammad said, he came to Newark one time. He said, I travel the world. I travel over the United States of America. And the graffiti in Newark is Islamic. That ain't nowhere. Nowhere in this country do you see graffiti as Islamic. So that's a compliment to the great city of Newark, New Jersey. From the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, all the great minds, Noble Drew Ali, more science temple. His first temple was on Warren Street, Newark, New Jersey. I was raised on Broome Street and West Kennedy Street, right where JFK's pool is. Right downstairs, you had a small satellite more science temple. On Springfield Avenue, Prince Street, you had a big one. So Islam has always been in Newark, New Jersey from the early 1900s. Noble Drew Ali. But no, that's the father, I'm like Muhammad. So this spirit, this loveliness of Deen al-Islam is in the atmosphere. So we cannot fail. We should not fail because we have too much going for us. Allah gave the world halal. And Newark, New Jersey, the state of New Jersey, put it as a law that you have to have halal. And it came out of Newark, New Jersey. So let nobody belittle Islam in Newark, New Jersey. It's unfounded. There's too much reality, too many great things that we have done in this wonderful society. And Akbar Salaam is still here. He told you how he was the first one to eat cut as a Muslim in this state. He did that. That's a blessing. That's history. I know you can relax, but I know you're still. If those who want to doze off. Because we got it on record, so you can hear later on anyway. So he established something that had not been done. And remember, we are descendants of slaves. So Allah gave us Deen al-Islam, gave us the Quran, and we did something with it. Halal certification, the first of us in the nation. And I got paperwork to prove that. Can't nobody take that from us. But we have to make it. If we got 13,000 halal restaurants in America, but you got 350 million people, we don't know how many millions of Muslims we got in the state. So 13,000 is the light stuff. That ain't no big deal. That's a small minority. But where's our particular halal in the city of Newark? Where's our restaurant? We got steak and bake trucks, which is wonderful. But where's our sit-down, glorious restaurant? We need one. So if the believers can come together and sponsorship it, get your mindset together, we can do the things that we need to do, because I'm 81. Akbar's 79. So if you notice, in the past couple of years, a lot of the elderly been dying. The elderly been dying, male and female. So who are the elderly? We are the repositories of the history of our community. So don't let us go without doing the thing that you need to do, so that we can set up something for you that when you come up, young brother, you ain't got to wonder about nothing. You have yours. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for this. May Allah continue to bless us all. Allow forever. Freedom for Juneteenth. Let's make it a reality in our time. Thank you. May Allah bless us all. Assalamu alaikum.
And
That's us. That's our
This is
signature.
law
That's
and
it.
public safety halal food.
That's us.
this is the law.
That's Quranic. That's Quran.
Let me just say this right here, the halal certification. Brothers and sisters, let's just look at the potential that we have in the halal industry.
Yes, sir.
If you went to a supermarket, close your eyes, pick out any product, and you can bring that product back, if it's a food product, and say, I want to make this product halal. I want to find a manufacturer who can private label this product for me, so I can take this product to the Muslim community or to the community at large, but I want it to be halal. The halal certification agency can get with you and partner with you, but partner with you in developing this potential in your product. If this company, say it's Heinz bean, a vegetarian beans, who eats more vegetarian beans than the Muslim community? Okay, take that can of beans, look who manufactures that can, and see if they will allow you to establish a halal brand-based manufacturer by Heinz. If not, find you a manufacturer or a canner who would do the same. Let's take a formula, put together a formula of vegetarian beans, take it to a manufacturer, and ask this manufacturer, will you can this for us? Now, the halal certification agency will check out your ingredients, go check the facility that's manufacturing that product, make sure it meets the halal standards, dietary law standards, and give you the certification to make that product halal and bring it to the market. Okay, say it's string beans, frozen string beans. Go to a company or go to a farm. Go to the farmer and buy a basket of string beans. Find you someone who can can those string beans. Or if you know how, can it yourself. Can those string beans and say, a halal certification, at home, we can these string beans. We use righteous ingredients. Okay? This is our formula. No, I don't know what your formula, but these are the ingredients we use. And does it meet the halal standards? Yes, it does. It can be marketed as halal. You can start by canning right in your house.
Yes.
String beans.
We did that in the first experience.
Yeah. Navy beans.
We can stuff.
Peaches. Whatever it is.
Alhamdulillah, we did.
Build up a clientele to now. You need to go to a manufacturer and say, listen, I have the potential to sell 10,000 jars or cans of string beans. Will you manufacture this for me? Will you private label this for us? Yes, we will. Okay. Well, our halal certifier has to come and make sure that your facility meets the standards.
That's
You
me.
go there, we inspect, put in your label, halal, like they did.
That's right.
True detergent, like they did. See halal like that? That's ours.
That's right. I'm doing that.
You know what I mean?
All right.
And now you get a product to take to the market. You can go on Amazon and advertise halal string beans, halal vegetarian beans.
That's right.
What's the name of the product, sis? What's the name of your bean product? What name you put on it?
I don't have a bean.
Yes, you do.
Okay, it's called it's called the Medina Bean
There you
Company.
go.
There you go. Medina bean. That's right. Yeah. Halal.
Wait, bro.
Okay.
Her husband does dynamic drinks.
Oh yeah? Oh, you make that drink halal.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
Good.
Can you tell us real quick, because we're saying halal, but there are things that we commonly use that we don't know has pork in it. Can you address that with like plastic, certain plastic?
Right. Okay. Yes, sir.
bottles?
There's bottles, there's plastics, aluminum foil, a lot of detergents. That's why we have a halal detergent now.
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics, yes. Big industry, cosmetics. I mean, if you shea butter, let's make halal. Put out there your halal shea butter. We have the agency that can. It's really two. We have the Council of Imams Halal Survey Agency, and we have the New Africa
I'm doing that.
Halal Survey Agency. The New Africa Halal Survey Agency belongs to New Africa.
I'm doing that.
We established that for our community from the West Coast to the East Coast, North, South, in the Caribbean. Wherever we are, we have the New Africa Halal Certifying Agency that belongs to you,
Love it.
us, them. So, alhamdulillah. Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions before we close out? Any questions? I did. Yes.
I did have a question. So, specifically to the meat and the slaughtering, in the halal way. So, we're caterer, as you know, and so we mostly get our meats from Unity Beef because it's trusted. And so one of the questions that I have is, as the organic meat market starts to, make sure you're in the way. As the organic meat markets or trend starts to get more popular amongst people who want to eat better, how is the halal market, or what is the halal market doing to keep up with that demand? And is there some intersectionality of organic and halal in terms of how the animal is raised versus how it's slaughtered or where they meet?
Well, the organic process is an excellent process, but it's not halal.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if they raise the animal and it's organic, and they want the animal to be certified halal, we can inspect, we can check their process, we can make sure that it's slaughtered properly, etc. And then they can say this is an organic halal product.
Good point.
That's a function of the halal certifying agency.
Very good point.
Yeah, I mean specifically about the intersectionality of the two. So, like you said, if there's a farmer who's raising organic,
Right.
and then we come in and slaughter halal, so is that already happening? Is that something that
In
the
some
market
areas,
is
yes.
looking toward?
In some areas, yes.
Okay.
Custom, it's a custom kill. You don't find a lot on the market.
Mm.
Okay. There was a few groups that had organic halal on the market, but the certification was questionable. Okay. See, there are other certifying agencies out there, but you have to have your own.
That's right.
Do for something. That's right.
You have to have your own that considers your interests and your culture.
Mhm.
Okay. Some people they thought that halal meant just all beef.
Mm.
No, it's bigger than that.
Yes. Indeed.
Yes. Yeah. So every aspect of this halal industry, as I mentioned about the halal, the first cut, chemistry, and physics, and etc. What we have to do as intelligent and thinkers, sit down and plan an economic system based on halal for our community. We got to sit down and do that. Adam had an interface with creation to get what we have now. Adam had to do that. Great mental power. So we got to take our mental power and come together and concentrate on establishing an economic base for ourselves based on halal. Cross the board. Yes.
And this is the second part question/comment. I remember a few years back, Imam Earl Sadiq, he had talked to us about the certified halal. Don't waste your time with the mic.
Okay.
He talked to us about the certified halal inspectors. And so just putting that back on your radar, that there are a number of us who would be interested in that. So whenever you looking to expand sort of what that looks like, please feel free to reach out.
Okay. We have to recertify the council of imams, and then we're going to do another certification program here in this area. Okay.
Yeah, so thank you for the question and discussion. If there's any more questions, comments?
Any more questions?
Discussion?
My mother just had a question. She said she's interested in the youth learning how to not only slaughter, but specifically learn the business of halal. So if there's something like that on your radar where we're teaching the young people this business and not just the slaughter.
Yes. Imam, will you establish classes here where we can come in and train the youth?
Absolutely.
And slaughter?
Yes.
And plan trips to the slaughterhouse and show them how it's done, etc.
No, we have a halal system now. You already
Imam Earl Sadiq, he is the chief halal inspector.
Yeah.
He's been somewhat lackadaisical lately. However, he's coming back on the case.
So he's the head man in charge of certification, of inspection. Okay. So, alhamdulillah.
Anyone else?
Anyone else?
That's it? Okay.
And let me say, you know, in 1976, I had never sold halal poultry before. So a brother came to me. He said, I'm gonna get some halal chickens for you to sell in your market. And this brother, he brought me my first halal poultry to sell. His father. Brother Naeem Muhammad. Yeah. Then he became a distributor for Unity Sausage in the Philadelphia area.
You remember Brother Naeem when he was smaller than them, running around with his father, helping his father get rid of the patients. And we knew that he was going to do something great because he accepted what his father was telling. That's important, having a man in the house. Taking nothing from the male, from the females. It's very important to have a man in the house. But what his father was telling him, he was inculcated that into his system. Fast forward, 40, right? 41 in April.
Oh, you just passed.
April.
Yes.
I'm April child. And I got him about 40 years. And I remember when he was like that. What his father taught him, all of it. He was running around here selling the cookies, talking to people, and now he's the imam. So we know Islam works when you do it the way Allah wants you to do it, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. So we're looking forward to reconnecting with our pioneers in the halal industry. We also talked about us having training for the next generation, inspection, and also the business of halal itself. We want to get our share.
Yes.
Inshallah.
Yes.
So our young ones, y'all want to close this out? Who's going to close this out? Come on up.
One more thing.
One more thing.
Remember, sponsorship.
That's right.
Sponsorship. We need you to sponsor Juneteenth Freedom Day. Akbar Salaam is the chairperson of the committee. Get in touch with me.
That's right. We have the tickets. They gave every match 20 tickets, so you can always purchase your $10 ticket here. Again, that's towards the sponsorship. That was the date. The date is on June 15th.
Father's Day. Big Daddy's Day.
Big Daddy's Day also.
That's Sunday.
She could. You could join in.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim. Ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin.
What's your name? Sheikh Stalin.
Now, in concluding this, when the slave traders and the black traders of Africa, traitors, different, traitors, when the slave traders and the traitors of Africa called themselves Muslims, were fighting each other and carrying on and weakening their people over there so that the white traders come in there and get us, kick us on slave ships and bring us here. Now, all right? Yeah. So now, when all that happened, what you think was happening to our human soul? Let me tell you, God has given me an eye to see into the very abstract form of the human being by my study of the Quran. Yes. Now, I'm going to tell you what was happening. I know, as if I was there. The soul of those victims had given up on this world. They knew they were going to their death. They knew they were going to circumstances that were going to finish them off. They would never have their lives again. They knew that. But in their soul, they were saying, our children will one day be free again, and they will serve God. We have failed, but our children will one day serve God. And now their prayer that they prayed in the deep recesses of their soul has come true. And not only of the descendants of the black people of Africa, from Islam, coming to Islam, taking up the divine cause, but those who never were Muslims, their children from Christianity, their children from Judaism, their children from paganism are embracing Islam in America. And we are going to build new Africa. New Africa, right here in the United States. Allahu Akbar. And the soul of those suffering victims, they're rejoicing because of us here today.